What up, y'all? Welcome to a new episode of Let's Talk More Action Golf. I'm your host, Luke Josepha, and I'm super thrilled today to bring you this episode. Now, this episode is really special to me because I get to talk with Josh, who's known as Josh Golf Quest on Instagram. And let me tell you, this was a real conversation. So I'm not going to do a monologue. I've been having a really good time. I hope that you can join us on Thursdays. Every Thursday night, Josh and we get on Instagram Live. I hope you can connect with us and ask your question, talk to us. But in the meantime, I want to give you an opportunity to listen to this conversation that Josh and I have had. So chill out, get your chair, relax, and listen to this amazing conversation. Let's talk more action golf, y'all. Talk to me about not falling into temptation on only showing the amazing part of your game.
Well, if I was only going to show the amazing stuff, I probably wouldn't have shared anything. You know, I when I think back, I'm like, why did I even start posting stuff? It was because if you go off the internet, it'll drive you crazy. It's like, am I crazy? Is everybody hitting 300-yard drives? Is everybody like, I'll play 3 rounds and I'll break 100 and I'll be working on breaking 90 next month. You get out there, and it's like, no, like I I've practiced a whole lot. I've gotten lessons, and I've practiced in between lessons, and I worked hard to shoot a 101. It's like, and so I started posting because it was a reality check. Because it was like, am I crazy? And I would post stuff, and immediately people would engage with it because they're like, yeah, it's like that's what it looks like. Like that's what starting really looks like, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you can hit. We've all that's the thing that kept us playing. We can hit one good shot, but if I go out and play a round and I record it, I'm probably only recording 4 or 5 shots. A beginner golfer that's posting phenomenal shots has to, I would bank on it. They probably record most of their round. The funny thing is, the more I played and got paired with randoms, because I've been a solo person myself. Like I've signed up for tournaments. You get on the course and they're like, oh, what's your handicap? And I'm like, 32, 33. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, I've been there. They right there with me.
With
right?
you, yes.
It's like, yeah. And so the intimidation, like, wait, something's going on here. And some of it, like, I played with some really good golfers, but the really good ones respect and know, like, yes, they know the deal. Like, there's no ego involved. They're like, that's what it looks like. I just don't suck slow.
How'd you get started with golf?
For me, it was, I got the bug real bad when I started working from home. I was sitting in here all day, step out, make a sandwich, step out, fix a light bulb. Then next thing you know, I'm messing with the kids and going to bed. I'm like, I got to get outside. Started going for a walk. And the best way to take a walk was, hey, let me just go play 9 holes.
So you get on and you start playing, but you're not playing really well. What keeps you from getting frustrated? Because a lot of people get out there and they start to get really frustrated. And sometimes it makes me wonder, why are you out there if you're not there to get better?
And why are you out there? You know, it's like, hey, it's more golf. You know, yes, you want to get better, but I mean, even you put on the pros. Like I've been watching TGL, and like the Tiger coming out the bunker, the ball stays in there. They pan in and zoom in on his face, and he's just like, you wouldn't have thought it didn't. You would have thought it didn't happen. Playing partners, cracking jokes, but he's like, hey, he hit another one, hit it to 2 feet,
and he tries again. So I really liked. I think
I like seeing, the pros struggling because it tells me that you're never going to be perfect at this game. You're going to be very, very good, but never perfect. But speaking of TGL, I've never been a fan of like hitting balls to screen, and I cannot get into this. Like I'm biased. Like I want to be outside, fresh air. I
Yeah,
cannot get into it.
yeah. I don't enjoy, like, that's not why I play golf. Now, from a spectator standpoint, I
Uh huh.
never I never got into spectating pro golf. And I'm at the point now where I'm getting invested into the sport, and I'm like, oh man, I would like to go spectate. That's probably a better way for me to go spectate than to
Okay.
follow somebody around for 18 holes and get to a
Yeah.
hole
Yeah.
two
Yeah.
hours early,
Yeah.
stay in the spot, hope he hits it out of bounds near me. Like,
Yeah. Hope it doesn't rain.
right,
Hope the weather's nice.
you're
Yeah.
out in the sun for 4 hours. That doesn't seem fun. Like, sit up in a stadium arena at 7 p.m. Like, I think I will bring my kids. Hey, let's go 2 hours. We get up out of here and go to a hotel.
Yeah.
But no. The only thing I use hitting the screen into, I really enjoy, is like I'm a cheap golfer too, and so I may come across a good deal or like a $20 Facebook Marketplace or a yard sale. Like, oh,
Yeah.
let me just grab that 4 wood, right?
There
And
you go.
so I'll go to the bays and take like 3 or 4 woods, and like, to me
Yes.
that was fun to just like have a hit off and say like, all right,
Correct.
who's making it in the bag, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
But playing the rounds, like, nah, that's
Yeah.
not why I play golf. Like I said, I started off by just going for a walk, and I almost don't even like riding the cart sometimes because I just go for a nice walk. Got my little push cart. I'll be on
Yeah.
my own, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I when I first started, I I had like one of those strap-on bags, so I would just walk all the time. And then I think we've had like a couple of like summers here that were really brutal. Then I'd get in a cart. And then,
Yeah.
but recently I stopped. I'm trying to lose weight. I just did this half marathon yesterday. That I
Oh,
did. The only training I did for the half marathon was walking on the golf course. Like I did not run a single mile
that's
in
crazy.
preparation. I just I do stairs and then I walk on the golf course. And for me, walking does a couple of things. It gives me the opportunity to truly appreciate what's happening in my life. Because like the ability, the privilege you get on a course, blue sky, everything is going beautifully. If you have an opportunity to have a couple of friends you're hanging out with,
Mhm.
listen, that's the best. And walking,
Nothing,
I
nothing
feel
like
like
that.
is nothing like it. So I really appreciate that. So yeah, but I want to circle back on what you're saying around cheap golf, right? Because I would imagine I think I'm also a cheap golf because I think people always ask me like, oh my God, golf is so expensive. And in my mind, I'm thinking, well, if you do it the
It
right
can
way,
be. Yeah.
it doesn't have to be,
Right.
right? There could be some expenses here and there to splurge on yourself.
Yeah.
But just like you, like I go to the PGA store every now and then. Like, I have a 3 wood that I bought at the PGA store for $40.
Right.
And it's a Titleist 3 wood for $40. Yeah, it has a couple of bruises on it, but so what? When I hit it well, I hit it 219. And I'm happy with that.
Right.
And I'm happy with that. So talk to me a little bit about that. Like, was that something that, because there are people who just skip that route.
Um. So it's all about which. It's all about. Like, it's so much ego involved, right? Like, everybody, you want to look fly. Some people, you can spend thousands of dollars on clubs. You can spend thousands of dollars on apparel. I'm trying to look cool. You can spend thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars playing beautiful courses.
Yeah.
I like to do a mix of all, right? Um, the only thing I splurged on, and that's not even a splurge, I bought a really budget putter, but I was like, a putter, I'll probably, let me get it one that I want.
Yeah.
I'll keep
Yeah.
that. But I still only spent 120 on it.
Yeah.
My Wilson putter, I got that new. My little Wilson putter, man.
Oh, that looks nice.
I said, give me something with a big grip, not a
Yeah.
whole lot of weight to it,
Yeah.
and like I'm gonna keep that forever. And
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
I had clubs. I had Nike. My irons were Nike. I got in when I first got into my professional world, throughout my career. I dabbled in golf, joined a couple scrambles, and I got them on eBay. And I got back into it a couple years ago, and I wanted to replace them. And I'm like, this is crazy. I'm not spending $900 on just the iron portion. I just replaced them for Christmas with some McGregor's. Like,
Okay.
I'm also like a techie nerd, right? Software engineer by trade, and
Okay.
so I'm reading the reviews. I'm all up on such and such, and they're like, "This is the best
So you
value."
do your homework. You do your homework.
I do my homework, right?
Yeah.
Like, so
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm like, what's the best budget putter? It's like, I ended up getting this. What's the best, most forgiving irons? Oh, they just happen to be $399.
There you go.
Well, let me try them out. And so I was like, I'll use them for 2 years and I'll be okay being mad. And so I got them. But I play nice courses I do my research. I use Golf Now and find last minute deals. But for the most part, I just want to put reps in. I'm at the point now where I'll spend money on fancy courses when I'm on vacation.
Yeah.
If I meet
Yeah.
up with my boys are in different cities, so hey, if I drive up to Philly, like, let's go. What's the best course around here? Like, it's on me.
Exactly.
Like, let's go.
You're on
Right?
vacation. You're enjoying yourself.
Right.
You're splurging. We
But
call
if
it
it's-
self-care.
But if it's Thursday, I'm like, Baltimore is 20 minutes from me. DC is 45 minutes from me. Baltimore City has 5 public courses, like all in the city. I think one's outside the city. And then Baltimore County has 5 really nice courses. It's like, and they're affordable. You know, I can go play 9 in Baltimore for 14 or 15, and it's right off of I-95. Like, it's really easy for me to just go play 9, go. If I'm stuck with the kids, hey, come on. They got youth on course. I do my research. You pay $20 a year, they can play for $5.
There you go.
At any of the city courses. Let's go. Like, y'all want a hot dog? Go ahead. Like,
Yeah.
I end up spending $45 and we get outside. Like, just get in the car with me. Let's roll.
That's it. I tell people this all the time when they ask. I'm like, it doesn't have to be expensive. You can make it expensive. You can get the best shirt, the best, club, the best, all of this. To me, I think from a very, very, very early on, when I was much younger, like I used to play soccer and I would see there would be kids with like the newest, cleats on, the newest, but they didn't know how to play.
We used to clown them.
Yeah, my dad like used to always tell me it's not about the clothes, it's about what you can do. Like, now don't get me wrong. Like, so when I started playing, I just grabbed some Wilson off this store. It's like a sporting goods store called Academy. I don't know. I don't think they had it in New York. I don't know if they do.
Like, play it again.
Around.
We got like a play it again.
Okay. Yeah. So I just grabbed those. They were cheap golf golf clubs. And I remember when I went to get lesson with this guy, he made fun of me. He's like,
The
those clubs
instructor?
are cheap. The instructor made fun of me.
See, that's crazy.
The,
That's
the
crazy.
clubs were cheap, so maybe I'll get better when I get better clubs. That was the only lesson I took with him. I was
Right.
like,
That's a bad
no more,
instructor.
no
That's
more, no
that's
more,
that's the
right?
type of stuff that's bad for the game. I had an instructor. My first instruction
Uh-huh.
was at Bully Rock. It's the nicest. It's the number one public course in Maryland, and my wife got it to me for me as a wedding gift. Um, and I had the same thing. I got $40, probably off Craigslist. Somebody was like, "Here's a bag full of clubs, $40."
There you go.
And I had the whole thing. It was just a hodgepodge of clubs, and I felt confident because he pulled out this out of the box, this box set drivers, and just showed me. He recorded, like, he just waggled it around a little bit, wham, dead straight at 270 yards.
Yeah.
It was like, it don't matter. Like, if your mechanics are right, like,
Yeah.
yes, his driver probably went straighter and another 30 yards, but like, nobody should be clowning anybody for that. Like, he used the clubs that I had and showed me. It was like, you need to work on mechanics. That's what you're here for.
Exactly.
That's
it.
So
That's it.
yeah, if anybody does that, like, we know that's not a good
Listen.
advocate
So-
for the game.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's like, are you taking the time? Are you putting the reps in? Are you doing what needs to be done, based on your level? Because for me, I'm all about where your levels are, right? So I started out with those Wilson club. I played these clubs like to death. Like, when I say I played them to death. And then I set a new goal. I said, okay, once I break 100, maybe I'll get something.
Yeah.
And the next thing I got was not brand new clubs. There were used clubs, used tailor-made burners that I got from Dick's Sporting Good for $120. 4-iron, 2 approach wedge for $120. And I played them for a while before I finally got something else. I think it's all about how people view the game, because it's about having fun. At least for me, the way that I approach it, it's definitely about improving on self. How can I push myself to get better at this thing that's like, sometimes it works, other time it doesn't work. So, approaching the golf from that standpoint, because there's nothing more frustrated with like the top clubs in their bag, head covers everywhere and all that stuff, and then you play with them and it doesn't go anywhere. So that gets really frustrating when I see people put that kind of value. Like, if your game calls for it, then cool.
Yeah. And when you start relating that to your self-worth or yourself, like your game, like, that's just all mixed up. And I think I had a benefit of I felt it. Like I said, I've been a techie. I like to play with gadgets. Like, I got this old SLR camera.
Yeah.
And you see it in technology too. It's like, I pulled it out one time at some event, and they're like, "You still using that old thing?" I was like, when it first came out, they was making fabulous pictures with it.
Right. Yeah.
Like my favorite thing to Google is, you go minus whatever the current year is, minus 3 years, best club of 2022.
Listen.
Right? Like, those burner clubs. I asked people, there's a lot of people still rocking those.
They're really good.
Those 2.0s. Yeah.
They're really good. And also too, like, a lot of companies, it's all marketing. Like, TaylorMade came out with the QI10 last year. This year they have the QI35. What's supposed to happen
Yeah.
You know, it between QI10 and QI35. Like, really, is it really gonna mean something? You know, it's
Especially at our
truly.
level. Like, how many percent? Like, what percentage of an increase am I looking for? Like, my demands on my equipment are like, but
So I'm
my
gonna hit it. I'm gonna hit it 5 yards, you know, further than when I did the last one. How much of a difference does that make?
if I
You
swing the
know,
same, because that's my,
there you go. There
you
you
know,
go. Yeah, yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I can't be that demanding on my equipment, and I need to get more demanding on my mechanics. Um,
I think
but
that's where it is, right? The focus. I want to pivot over, you know, a
yeah,
little bit to. You said you got into competition, and I've always felt like, you know, competing really helps you sharpen your game. And I'm saying this no matter what the level, because I think I jumped into like it was a charity thing, but it really helped me. Like, how has it that helped you in your game?
it's a game changer, man. It's accelerated. So one of the drivers for me to like, all right, I like to play golf. You can just go out and play golf. You don't have to
Mm-hmm.
want to get better.
Yeah.
What was my driver to try to get better? My best man and my frat brother, he's like, he, I was like, yo, I'm getting into golf. I know you've been playing since you were a teenager. What's your handicap? He's like 8. I'm like, oh crap. I'm like, I need to get my game up, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, so let me accelerate and catch up with these folks that have been playing forever. And I played. This is 2023 where I got the bug, and I would always, my routine was wake up at sunrise, play 9 holes before work. And then I'm like, I got my outdoor time. I got to move my body. Now I can work from home, lock in, and I'm in my bliss. Coffee, morning, do, had my alone time, and I'm good. But as that year progressed, I hadn't played 18 holes, but 2 or 3 times. And I was a whole lot worse than I was on that same 9 hole course. And I
Okay.
was like, all right, 2024. I was like, I, I want to play 18 holes. And with family, hey, getting time on that calendar ain't no
Oh,
joke.
that can be
That's
really
like,
tough.
that's a blood sport, right? It's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and so I was like, all right, I got to figure out something. And I was looking for leagues, and I'm like, these night leagues and spark leagues and 9 holes. I'm like, it ain't gonna work doing
Yeah.
9 holes on a weekday. I found a league, and I was like, oh man, it's not gonna work. But then I was like, you know what? Just go. I found a league that's it's not for beginners, but it's also uh, it's for bogey golfers. It's supposed to,
Okay.
if you shoot 90, you should be in contention.
Okay. Okay.
That's how it's designed. So everybody's shooting between like 88 and like 115, right?
Mm.
Which is, I'm like 115. I'm like, oh, I'm good. And so I sign up. January they come out with their whole schedule. So I'm like, bam, 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 bam. I can put this
How
up.
long was the schedule? How long was the tournament?
It's it's on Saturdays, 18 holes, one per month from April to October.
Okay. Okay.
And they come out with the dates in January. So I'm like, that works for me.
Yeah, because it gives you enough time to put that on the schedule. Talk
Right.
to. Yeah.
I'm like, bet I can lock down 8 rounds and know that I'll play.
Yeah.
And I was like, whatever happens when I get there, fine. And then I started looking at past events, and I'm like, nerding out, right? I'm starting doing the research, looking at stats. I'm like, hey, if I improve on my approach game, get safe off the tee, I'm like, hey, I can graduate out of this league in a year and a half, and I'll be in the money. I'll be real good. I go to the first event, whole different feeling. One, I'm not at my home course. Two, like, I'm used to playing at Sunrise with nobody around. You got a whole field. I'm not used to playing with a foursome. I'm not used to playing to USGA rules that strictly. They're like,
Yeah.
Man, I ain't even pay attention to back then. I ain't ashamed to say it. I didn't pay attention to the difference between white and red hazards. Like white out of bounds, red
Ah,
They
okay,
they
okay.
like they're like, no, that's 2 strokes. This is 1 stroke. Oh, you unplayable lies is 1 drop plus a club length. You touch somebody else's ball, it's 2 strokes.
It's a
Like
whole. It
it's a
sounded like
whole new game. And
it shocked
so
your system.
yeah, so there's anxiety about doing well. There's anxiety about like, hey, I'm used to being out on the course. Ain't nothing but me and deer out here because I'm used to playing at
Yeah,
sunrise by myself in a
yeah.
rush. I'm like, oh, it's not my turn to putt. I'm looking around. I'm like, it happened to be it was like 40-mile-per-hour gust of wind. My hat blew off on the first tee. So I didn't have my ball marker because I had put it in my cart. And I'm like, I go on the tee, I'm not marking my ball. And I'm like, I'm slowing the back route. I'm not even focusing on golf. I shoot a 123 or something,
Mm,
122.
okay.
And I'm like, oh crap, this is crazy. Like I'm used to shooting like 49 on my like 9-hole course.
Yeah, yeah,
And here I come, I'm doing 60 on the front, 60 on the back. And I'm like, what is going on? I don't even know how to play golf. Right?
yeah.
Month after month. It was a tear down and a rebuild. It was a tear down and a rebuild. And it accelerated. Like I feel like I played 5 years of what I would have done if I didn't enter all those tournaments. Um, and so like that's why I'm excited going into 2025. It's stepping onto a new course and putting your game on the line. No mulligans, no like I would do some gallery drops, right? You
Yeah,
know what those are? Like, hey, if it was a group here, they would have seen it. I know I hit the fairway, I can't find my ball.
right. Yeah.
I'm taking my free drop. Ain't none of that in tournament play. Like you playing
Any
legit.
drop, you get a penalty. You got it. Yeah,
Yeah, you playing
yeah.
legit, right? No, all right, I'll give myself one mulligan on the front, one mulligan on the back. Nah, no breakfast ball. Nah. So it was good. It accelerated and it forced me to like pay attention to what everybody was doing. You fast forward to the end of the season. I still had some ego things to get through. I got to the last event and I was like, I want to do really well here. And I really was pushing myself to do well, and my body just clammed up from all the pressure I was putting myself under. Instead of just enjoying the sport, I shot my worst round I've ever kept count of. I shot a 126, I think. Um, After going, I think my best in competition at that point was like 105.
Okay.
And so I shot a 126. I went to a next day. I hopped on a Zoom call, got a mental golf coach. And I signed up for now instead of just like a casual league that this was for bogey
Yeah.
golfers. I signed up for a Merlin State event where like you could tell like this ain't no joke. It was at a country club.
What made you sign up for that newer one? Is it after the mental coach was there something that happened in that session that
I was like,
emboldened you to jump in?
I couldn't end the season like that.
Okay.
I was like, you play your worst round ever and you're like, that ain't me. I got to get this out of my system. I need to figure out what went wrong and I need to correct it and I need the first chance I can find and correct it. And I signed up for it and I was like, all right, I'm throwing myself into the deep end all over again. That's been my success to life in the career, parenting, whatever. Throw yourself in the deep end as much as possible.
Yeah.
So I did that again and was like, all right, this is a brand new environment. I don't know the guys. Throw me in the deep end. And then I found out that they actually had prizes for your scores, the top 3 scores. but also your top three scorers net when you calculate handicap.
Oh, when you add, okay.
And so I looked at the handicaps. I was like, I entered my handicap, and it was like 33 at the time. I'm like, the next highest handicap was like 20, 24.
Oh, that's a huge gap. Yeah.
So they put me in the last cart, the last group. The dude that had the 24 was in my cart.
Yeah.
And him talking. I ended up shooting a 108. He shot a 107.
Wow.
And I was like, to me, that was the best 108 I've ever shot, because the rough was like this thick. Like if you hit the rough, if you were in the rough, as soon as you step 1 foot in it, you're like, I'm not finding my ball. It was gone.
Yeah.
It was gone.
Yeah.
The putts were like, everything was undulated. Everything, it was like putting on a kitchen table.
Oh, yeah. So, I've been to a couple of those courses where it's like you touch the ball and it just. Yeah. But it sounds like it sounds like you learned the hard way, but all these lessons were like foundational. So now, the better you get in terms of mechanics, you already got the rules down, which is something that I think a lot of weekend golfers do not pay attention to.
No.
Like those rules, out of bounds, those things around club length, when you drop, it's something that a lot of weekend golfers, a lot of time they don't pay attention to. And sometimes I think if you already know these things, right, you understand the rules, then you could jump in as your mechanics, your golf game gets better, then you jump in serious tournament and be super comfortable.
Right. Yeah. So I'm set up. So now, whether I'm on vacation and I'm going to a course, like I'm not uncomfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
There's no anxiety. There's no nervousness because you've been through the fire. You had your moment of red wedding and you survived. You survived all of that. Yeah. Right. Talk to me about the mental coach, the mental health golf coach. Is that what it is? Like, where do you go to find someone like that?
I just happen to have somebody on my feed, Laura Scott. She just happened to, a lot of golf accounts end up in your feed. And some of them are physical fitness golf trainers. Some of them are swing coaches. Some of them are. There's a very few that are mental health. Most of them I actually unfollow or say like not interested, because I don't want to see. I try not to see swing tips online. Yeah. But the mental, she kept popping up, and it was like one example was like, hey, when you have a bad round, do you ever feel like you're in a stoop and you've let that score determine your self-worth for way longer than it should? And I'm like, at first I'm like, no. I'm like, yeah.
What's way longer than you should? Or for you? What would be way longer than you should?
Drive home, right? You drive home, you think about it.
Yeah.
You're like,
what
did I do? You know, like you drive into you see the memes, like you drive to the course, you're all good. You driving home, you're like, man. But like that when I shot that 126, I was hot. Well, when your spouse is like, you good? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
She's like, no, you ain't.
Yeah.
It's like, I see you outside in the driveway kicking rocks, right? Yeah.
Most definitely. Yeah. Okay. I completely could get that. I think in the beginning that would happen to me, but like I got through, because I think one of the reasons that I think I don't bring it home is because I'm always very careful not to mess up like my wife's day, the kids' day, because I had a bad round of golf. Like I'm
Right.
really
That's silly, right?
in fact, some of my competitive nature when I'm on the course is sometimes I think about what am I gonna say to my wife when she asks, how was golf? And in my mind, I'm like, no, I want to say something good. So go ahead, take it, slow down, right? That's when like my internal caddy comes out. Hey, you know your wife is gonna ask you how golf was. You know your daughter's gonna be like, hey Luke, I was golf today. What is you know that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
So you better be prepared. You better be ready. So generally, I'm ready. But I've had a couple of taking it like I think there was one time I carried it through like an entire weekend. Yeah, an entire weekend. Like I was like, man, how could I let this happen? I was replaying every swing like in my head. How did I let this happen? So yeah. I think what got me out of that is this guy recommended Zen Golf. It's a book, this book called Zen Golf. So for your session, one part of that is leaving it all, not bringing it up. What else did the mental coach help you with?
It was one of her best catchphrases that I've brought into my game was like, when you make a mistake, it's only because you're focusing on the wrong thing at the wrong time. And I was like, what? I was like, that's like, what type of Mr. Miyagi stuff is that, right? But then more I thought about it, it was like when I shanked a ball, it's like, what were you trying to do? Like, I shouldn't have been thinking about my hip rotating in the middle of my swing. I should have been locked in. And so she taught me how to create these layers of a routine to say, all right, this is when you can think about this. This is when you can think about this. This is when you think about just smashing the ball, right? And my routine got built, and she didn't even build it for me. Like I had to do that myself, but she helped me to say, all right, where's the line of, hey, you're thinking about what you want to do.
Yeah.
Right? All right, how do you want to approach this? Whether it's the course, the club, whatever. Strategy, right? All right, where's your strategy? How are you going to swing it? What are you going to swing? Where are you going to aim? All right, next step. How you feeling? What swing thoughts you got? Get them all out now. Practice swings. Step to the ball. Now you got to focus in on visualize what you need to do and just do it. It's just like, and those can't ever bleed. Before it was a mess, right? It was, I picked the club, I visualized something, do a practice swing, that was bad. I'm thinking about a different club that, well, maybe last time I used this club, she was like, no, put these walls between the different phases. And I was like, oh, crap. And that immediately got me to go to this country club and shoot the 108, right?
Yeah.
Within a week and a half. It was like less than a week when I called her up and was like, it's all mental because I know how to swing a club.
Yeah.
Right. I should, like, I can do better than that. And so she helped me sort out when you're supposed to be focusing on which things and put down a routine and put in reminders when I start to get bored. 18 holes. A lot of people don't talk about how long 18 holes can be, especially in a competition where sometimes it's 6 hours. Like the last 4 holes, like when I shot the 101, I got back to, it was in Mexico when I was on vacation. I got back to the hotel with my wife. I'm like, I zoned out for like 4 or 5 holes because I hit the turn and got this this chicken BLT that was crazy good. And so I'm like smacking the ball and I'm running back to get another bite. And like,
you're focusing on the wrong thing.
Yes, I'm focusing on that sandwich. I'm like, and she was like, you want it spicy? She had some like some salsa verde, some hot stuff. I'm dipping it in. I'm like tearing these things up, right? Yeah, I'm playing golf.
But you
Yeah.
enjoyed that.
Yeah, and
You
it was
enjoy,
fun.
yeah,
It was
yeah,
fun.
yeah,
And so it's like people don't pay attention to how long it can be. Attention is a struggle. So focusing for 18 holes when you're in competition, when you're on vacation, like have fun.
yeah,
But she helped me have more awareness of where I was focusing my mental energy. So whether it was on the wrong thing or whether I was just wasting it. And sometimes you're wasting it just replaying those shots in your head. Like, okay, here comes another bunker. Remember what happened last time? Like, you don't got that much focus to be wasting on old stuff.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so it was a game changer for me.
Yeah.
So
you know what sounds super amazing in terms of like creating those walls? It almost sounds like she helped you to give yourself permission to have these thoughts, but then to start and to end. Okay, I've thought about this part. It's almost like to sequester each part, right? Creating different channels. Okay, it's my time to think about this piece. Okay, I've thought about it. Now I need to move on to the, and I think that's super important because when you think about what you said, the way that you approach it, which is, I think a lot of times that's the way that I approach it, is I make a practice swing. It's the wrong practice swing. And I'm thinking, do I have the right club? Am I going to do this? But then I'm also thinking, oh, I don't like when people make 20 million practice swing and I'm standing there waiting for them. Okay, so I got to hurry up now. Okay, am I setting up correctly? Is my body? No. I got to hurry up because there are people waiting. And then before you know it, I thin the ball, right? And it goes wherever it went. And then I'm thinking, oh man, I should have slowed down. But among all these thoughts that were popping in my head, none of them were like, okay, slow down. You've thought about this. What's next? Right. So I think that's super important.
You don't put that on the driving range. You don't practice that on the driving range.
No, no, absolutely not. Even on the driving range nowadays, I'm changing the way that I practice. When I first started, I used to get like a whole bucket of balls to go on the practice range. Now, I take a small bucket because I want to add so much more value to each ball as if I was playing on the course, right? So I'd say, okay, I got 25 balls in this small little bucket. Okay, so today I'm going to practice my irons. So 2 or 3 at most per, like, depending if I'm doing short iron or long irons, right? To slow me down, because when I first started, I'd get there and I'd hit a bucket of ball. And the same way I started, that's the way I ended. Because I had there was no strategy. So yeah, I completely understand that. So
what does that do for you though? When do you feel like what is it valuing each shot, or is it taking breaks in between each shot, or both?
It's a little bit of both.
Okay.
It's a little bit of both, because valuing each shot to know that this one shot, this is it, right? This is just one ball, because if I'm going to have to play whatever that is. And also taking those breaks, because like lately going to the driving range, like I work mostly on my pre-shot routine than the actual, like making contact or shaping a shot and all that stuff. Because for me, the pre-shot routine is super important. Mm-hmm. Very, very important, right? So line up behind the ball. Well, my practice routine is line up directly behind the ball to the target. Okay, selecting a target. I used to try to be like the flag. No, now my target is no longer the flag. The flag is not my target no more. Selecting a target. Where do I want to be? Step back. And then when I step onto the ball, making sure that my whole body is comfortable. Because what I realized, or I used to realize, I'd set up to the ball and I'd feel like something is not right and I'd proceed. So now I'm learning to like, if my body, my setup doesn't feel right, I sense that it's not right, step back and go back again. So I think I use that for, like smaller amount of balls for my practice swing, and as well as like making sure that I add more value to each of the balls.
Yeah,
Because
that's all
otherwise I'm
practice,
just
yeah.
rushing through it.
Right, right.
Yeah.
It's like eating a cheeseburger. You only remember the first and last bite, right?
And it's like, okay, slow down. Relax. Relax.
So,
And
sometimes it's good. It has its purpose. Like you need to blow off some steam. Go ahead, smack through them. But you're not increasing any mechanics or skill.
no, absolutely not. And I find like then I can when I just go and smack ball, I get on the course, I cannot recreate any of those stuff that I do.
No.
Right? Because when I'm on the range, I'm just hitting balls to a certain distance. When I'm on the course, there are so many other factors I need to take into account. Wind, moisture, location, all that stuff. Like so it's for me, I find it brings real value in slowing me down when I practice with fewer balls, like on any tie, like on the range.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that.
Yeah. So what are your golf goals for 2025?
Yeah, I've been scratching my head on that for a while, and talking to my the mental golf coach about it. I'm like, because putting numbers on stuff, that's dangerous. Well, it's not that it's dangerous. It's like if I do X, like we try to focus on process, not results, because
Okay.
results come and go. And then what, right? My biggest thing is to just do. This is what I came through with my mental golf coach was. After like 3 weeks thinking about it, it came down to just doing what's right for my mental health.
I want to hear more about that.
That's weird, right? That's weird for a golf goal, but it's like, hey, if stuff getting busy at work, go to the putting green for 30 minutes and putt. If you got anxiety about a tournament that's coming up, go to. My thing is, I'll talk about this in a second, but I tend to go to Topgolf on weekdays. Cheap golfer too. Weekdays they got a $15 special for 2 hours between 10 a.m. like 9 a.m. and noon.
Okay.
$15. I'll go in there, play Pebble Beach, play some of the drive fairway finder drills.
Yeah.
And I end up smacking I end up doing about 250 shots, but it's all target based gamification. And so, hey, take the time for your mental health. Go to Topgolf and hammer out some balls. Get that anxiety down, so you can be prepared for the tournament. If stuff is busy with kids and family, go out in the backyard, hit some wiffle balls. If golf is wearing you down, like don't do anything. And so everything that I do is going to be like, does that. If I don't feel like going and practicing, my thing now is practicing putting for 5 minutes on weekdays. If I don't feel like doing it, it's like, hey, is it going to improve my mental health? I was like, yeah, it probably will.
Yeah.
And so if it only takes 5 minutes, go ahead, knock out these 8-foot putts and see how many you can make in 5 minutes. So that's what I'm focusing on. I think milestones, I could break 100. If I stick to my process, I wouldn't be surprised if I did it on my first tournament or my first golf trip or vacation. Heck, this snow go away for a couple weeks, and maybe I expect that to come. Eventually, it may come, it may not. If it don't, I'm gonna have some fun. I would like to get my golf league. It's mediocre golf league. They make it's self-deprecating. And mediocre golfer is one of the awards that I want to win. It's if people are shooting 88 and 120, whoever's dead in the middle gets the mediocre award. I want to get that.
Okay.
I want to get that. If it happens this year, it does. But I want to play at least 20 rounds. Like full 18 rounds. Which has been a challenge for my schedules, but
yeah.
We'll see.
To me, it sounds like you're putting you first above the golf, all these other stats. You're putting your person first, right? Because
that's my me time, right?
Yeah.
And so if I turn it into, I've been there. I've turned it into a job, and I started to hate it, right?
Yeah.
I've gone casual, and I'm like, man, I suck. I hate it, right? So I got to find a happy medium where it's like, or I take a break from it, and I feel like I'm gaining weight, and I'm like, hey, I need to get outside. What's my favorite way to get outside and exercise? Oh, let's just swing the club.
There you go. Yeah.
And so it goes back to, why do you play? I play to get outside, have a mental break, and have some physical exercise.
Exactly. Yeah.
So if I lose that, I'll lose the game.
And I think that's the most important thing, because I've seen, I play with different people, and I see the opposite of like folks who put the game above themselves and completely lose it. You could see those people as you're playing with them, right? You could see them unraveling as you're playing with them, because, this became, so I think that really, but yeah, I like that. I could definitely, add that to my arsenal.
It's like, this is what we do for fun. Like,
right.
That's my saying when we out there and somebody is acting up. It's like, this is what we do for fun. Like, it's miserable enough because it's a crazy game. Like, don't make it worse.
Exactly.
You got any goal? What do you get aspirations this year?
Man, I think part of my goals this year is to so there is a competition. One of my golf buddies, he would invite me every now and then to play with him in that competition. It's a 9-hole competition. Every Tuesday they play together. And so last year he already had a partner that he'd play with. And the partner, whenever the partner is not able to show up, he'd call on me. And this year he asked me to partner him because I think his partner had an accident and broke his wrist. So I'm going to be there. So I'm looking forward to that. But I think my goals are very similar to what you're saying, because towards the end of last year, I started really getting into stats, like thinking about, like approach shots, shots saved, or, I started really getting into that. And before I'd play, like if I have a tee time at like 8:00, I'd be up at 6 a.m, going online, looking at the course, trying to determine if I hit the ball here, the ball there, blah. And it's like, and then I get there, I forget all about that. So this year, I'm really trying to play to where like I'm appreciating. Like I really want to, I always say I play joyful golf, because when something bad happens, I tend to laugh. I don't get upset. But I think this year, I really want to lean into like just appreciating everything about the course. And that includes swinging, but also nature.
Yeah.
I played with this couple from Denver one time, and as we were playing, the wife was appreciating every moment. Like in between time, if somebody else is putting, she's not putting. She's like looking at the ducks, noticing the animals, noticing nature. And I thought, oh, wow, that's really nice. And so I want to lean more into that, to like really appreciate that. And so that's one of my goals. So getting into a competitive tournament, appreciate taking in more time to really appreciate, you know, the round that I'm playing. And the third one, I definitely want to do like a golf trip. Like I haven't had, like I went to a conference recently and then I played golf, but it wasn't like
A golf trip.
specifically the golf trip. So I definitely would like to do a golf trip. Like there are a couple, this group that I'm part of that they have a golf trip coming up in February. So I'm looking at my schedule for work, for home, to see if I can attend that. So those are the things that I'm really looking forward this year, to really trying to make sure that I do something really nice. Yeah.
Golf trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last year, that was my thing. I said, hey, I was going to join this league, but I did two. I said I'm gonna go on two golf trips.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I ended up. I spent my birthday at the beach over in Ocean City, Maryland.
Okay.
Somebody, we played
Yeah.
four rounds in 3 days. That was great. And then we did the national championships for the mediocre golf league is in Vegas
Mhm.
every year. So I went out
Okay.
to Vegas and it was a 2-day tournament.
Oh, that's what's up.
That was nice. That was
That's
nice.
what's up. That's what's up.
That was good.
Yeah. So Josh, man, I'm so grateful. Like, I don't know about you, but I feel like there's chemistry here enough for this to happen a little bit more time,
Yeah.
during this season. So if you're open to it, I'd love to come back, have more in-depth conversation about different subject. I think I really want to maybe have a little bit more dedicated conversation around the mental health coach part of like what you're getting out of it. Because I feel like we teased a lot of subjects and we have opportunities to really like go deep into some of these things. So I don't know,
When you have a blow up round, then let's hop on the call.
There you go. There you go. I like that.
Let's talk
I
about
like
it.
that. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
like
sure
that.
I probably won't be too far away from one. Yeah, no, this is great.
Maybe we could do like I'm thinking like maybe like every other week, maybe we check in, we do like just a live.
I'm down with that.
Just a live, we just riff, get everybody involved, get them into the conversation with us.
Yeah, I'm down with that. Also, let me know if you start to hone in on a golf trip. Hey,
Okay.
I got some Southwest points to burn.
Okay. Oh, so then, in fact, I'm gonna send you the one that's supposed to happen in February. I know it's last minute, but I'll send it to you once I know what my calendar, what my schedule is. Maybe we can, join in and come through. That'd be really nice, man.
Yeah, no, man. I'll. It may be brief, but I'll fly in and bring them clubs.
There you go. There you go. That's what's up. Yo, Josh, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate your time. I hope to speak with you soon again, okay?
Likewise. Looking forward to it, man.
All right, man. Have a good night.
Good night.
All right.
Thank you for tuning in to Let's Talk More Action Golf podcast. We hope that you've enjoyed today's episode. A big shout out to our producer and creative director, Ajane Josafa, for bringing the show to life. And a special thank you to Sid Mac for our fantastic music. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast on your favorite platform. Follow us on social media for the latest updates and exclusive content at Let's Talk More Action Golf. I'm your host, Luke Josafa. Until next time, keep swinging easy, and remember, let's talk more action golf.
Life's a maze, keep your head high when you going through it. I saw dead bodies look in the eyes of the living, held back as you held back from making bigger decisions. We get lost, but this journey comes with us down, that's a given. That's a given. That's a given. We get lost, but the journey comes with us down, that's a given. That's a given.
Let's talk more action golf.